Yes, fuck me. We need tongue.
This is the Dude Loft Mountain Podcast with your hosts, Gabe, Tanner, and Tommy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Dude Loft Mountain. I'm your host, Gabe, joined with Tanner.
Howdy.
And Tommy.
Hello.
So I have an announcement today, guys.
He's gay.
Going to...
Every time.
Every fucking time.
I'll die alone, don't worry.
Okay. Well, no, because then we're the only ones that got to be there. It's going to be me and like 4 other people. You can't die alone.
It'll be a sad funeral.
Wow.
Anyway.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast.
We got to stop because now we got to cheer
Yeah.
up Tommy. No, but anyway, so my announcement is, so I think we were talking about it and thinking maybe once a month we're going to play a board game on the podcast with you guys and kind of navigate through it and possibly record it and put it on YouTube. I don't really know.
And
We
it'll
have
be
to
a
set that shit up.
separate episode.
Yeah, it'll
Like
be
we'll
like
have
a
the regular
bonus
episode. Yeah, and then there'll be one. We're talking about releasing it on like a Friday night or something.
Yeah, like
right
the
now.
last Friday of the month and make it kind of a regular special episode every now and then for you guys.
So yeah, look forward to that. We kind of know what we're gonna do, but we'll figure it all out before. I guess we have a whole month of this month. 'Cause it's only like the 4th or something. So yeah, we have a while.
Yeah, sorry my recent board game addiction has spilled into this podcast.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
I bought 3 board games last
in
weekend.
in 2 days.
Yeah,
You
and
came
played
home-
them all.
Yeah, you came home with 2, and you're like, "You want to play a board game?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah.
And then you came back with the most extensive board game setup I have ever seen. But I've only really seen like the ones you grow up playing with.
Yeah, same. I've only really ever played board games that like everyone plays
Yeah,
as
Candyland, Monopoly.
children. Yeah, so this was like the most complex board game I've ever played, but it was fun.
Yeah. What's it called?
Space Gate Odyssey.
Yeah, see, even sounds really complicated.
Yeah,
But it looked cool as fuck. It sounded like a video game when you were playing it.
it felt like it.
Are you okay, Tommy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
He's just spacing out.
Yeah, just thinking about your funeral?
No, I just had nothing to input on that subject. Congratulations! I'm happy for your board game
Addiction.
Thank you.
fetish that is
What
coming
did-
in.
Oh, we should say fetish.
Fetish.
You did say you didn't like addiction. So
Yeah.
now we're going to say fetish. You fucked yourself. Congratulations.
Yeah, fuck your chicken strips.
Fuck your chicken strips. I think I hadn't had a drink for like 2 weeks maybe, and so my body was just like, I need a new vice, and it was board games.
There you go.
Yeah,
You know, healthy.
Yeah.
It's not Coke.
could have been worse.
Yeah.
Is there vodka in that, Gabe?
It's a truly, but not a truly.
Oh, it's the Michelob. Did you
Yeah.
say Michelob or Michelob? What is
It's
it?
Michelob.
Michelob.
It's the Michelob seltzer.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know why they have to flavor it with like a hint of Michelob. I really don't. You could make this a lot better tasting if you just didn't make it taste like beer.
Seltzers are gross though.
Yeah. The truly
like
ones
the
don't
hint of
taste
Michelob.
like, I don't taste a beer aftertaste.
I haven't figured out why it's become such a thing because I always like when I hear about like new alcohols and stuff like that that's really popular, I look to 2 places to explain why it's popular. One, people who go to the lakes on the summer, like, have a boat and they go party, and then college kids.
Yeah.
And both of those, I'm like, where is the good part of having a non-beer that is more carbonated, like tasting? Like it's harder to shotgun than a beer, like a seltzer,
Yeah.
and it's devoid of an actual like taste.
I think it's less calories.
Yeah, it's less calories.
That's
There's
part
You
of the attraction.
grow the fuck up.
Yeah, it's 1 carb per like can, I think, or 1.5 or 0.5 carbs, and that was like a really big thing because of keto and
Yeah, you're just
Coke.
drinking like flavored carbonated water that has alcohol. in it.
Regular Michelob has like 2 grams of carbs in it.
I don't know what.
I'm
Like,
not
a Michelob
drinking.
still is like what, like 90 calories?
yeah,
Or-
I'm sure
No,
they
those
have.
ones
the
that
light
you
ones?
have, the gold beers or whatever, are
Yeah.
only 75.
Well,
or
think of
something
it this way: how many beers have transferred over to like a 0 calorie or a smaller, healthier option? Of course, seltzers are going to be big because it's just flavored water with with alcohol in it.
But that's what light beer is.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Like that's
It
just
just-
straight up.
That's why I prefer like the Truly because it doesn't have a
Yeah.
beer taste, which Michelob
Yeah,
Ultra
there's-
seltzers, there's a beer taste and I like it less, which is why there's so much ice in this.
Yeah, there's people in the world like Gabe that don't like beer. You have to
Yeah.
remember that, Tommy.
And
What do you mean? Will you explain to me?
And I'm already someone who like will look at two options and I'm like, no, because this one, like I'm already constantly fighting an uphill battle to get to the fitness I want to be. Why am I going to choose the shittiest option when I can just have a better-ish option?
You live in America.
Which is gives me the power to choose
Well,
my
at least
healthier
I
option.
know I'm free.
Oh my god.
I read
This
a
is-
fucking hilarious comment the other day where someone like wrote that on Twitter and then someone replied and they're like, "Oh yeah, all us Europeans are real enslaved over here."
Yeah. A friend of mine showed me a song that, it was Zach actually. So my friend Zach showed me this song, which I have to actually text him and ask what it was called.
X.
But it's this song that's just like, he says like, this is my country, this is where I'm from. If you're not around here, like, you don't understand. Like, this is my home, blah, blah, blah. And we're listening to this and Fally goes, it sounds racist, doesn't it? And I was like, yeah, which is unfortunate because this person may not be racist or like have that
It's just
kind
patriotic.
of, he's just patriotic but it's a shame that kind of like sentences strikes like uncomfortability in colored people or people who are like aware that this sounds racist.
There's literally a new movement. There's a couple. One of them's called the New Patriots and the New Liberty, and it's literally for like liberal people or like more center people, more moderates and stuff like that, who are still like, I love America, like I love this place. This is a great country. That doesn't, but like has no like undertone to it, like get out.
Yeah.
Like get like, you know, it has nothing like that going on. And it's a weird time where like I don't buy things with American flags on them, like shirts and stuff,
Neither will I.
because it just seems weird now. Because
Really?
so many people during the Trump period would fucking deck themselves out in American flag shit. So it kind of became synonymous when you saw a big fat dude, which fucking spoiler alert, that's me, walking around with like a giant American flag hat or a giant American flag shirt on or something. It was like, oh, he's one of those idiots who's just like,
Which is it's a shame that that's like
Yeah, that's how I
the
felt.
opinion that people now have when they see people
It's
Yeah,
like
get
but
American
as
flag.
soon as I
That's
hear this
the
is my
idea.
country, I'm like, fuck.
well, it's literally the loudest part, all the assholes and all the idiots who wave around those flags, and it's like-
Incorrectly.
and it's like, okay, like that, like so, you know, you're in a situation where it's like, it's kind of like the Union Jack over in Britain, or England, UK, whatever you want to call it. That is kind of more their Confederate flag. Like that's the flag that like the racist guy wears. Whereas the St. George flag, like the red cross on just a white backing.
Yeah.
That's like the kind of more official one.
Interesting.
But so that's why people like I've seen people on Reddit say like, yeah, I'll go to America sometimes, and there's a bunch of Union Jacks in some places. I'm like, geez, that's
So what American flag do we have that's acceptable? Like we don't have the Confederate flag. You obviously can't rock that one.
No, yeah.
The American flag. What, the 13 colonies? Is that flag okay?
I think that's why everyone just started getting really interested in all those State 48 Arizona items. Like all my friends all at once started buying Arizona stuff, and I'm like, I think everyone just went local. Just like, you know what? I think
We'll fly
some
our
of these
state
states
flag.
are bullshit, so we're just gonna go ahead and go with our own stuff.
Yeah. I'm still really upset that I most likely will have to live in Florida at some point. I fucking hate Florida.
I mean, I just hate Florida because it's a fucking swamp.
Yeah, that's
But
why
Disney
I hate it.
World's there. Whee!
Nice.
So
It better be
just
worth
go to
it.
Disney World. Yeah.
Every day, just walk around, just Mickey, come. I need a hug. I fucking live next to swamp
I
people
had a
and
nickel
idiots.
for every time I heard Mickey come.
Mickey Coon.
It would sound like Donald Duck, I'm sure.
Oh my god.
Oh, that was Donald getting deep throated. I don't know what I just did there.
I thought that, perfect.
Oh my god. How do we come back from that? Where do we go?
I don't know.
from
I
here?
think I'm required to go shoot myself in the face.
Not on the podcast.
Just outside, please.
I think we have
God damn, you guys are fucking cold.
I just don't
Nah,
want to
I
clean
respect
it up.
that shit.
If it makes you feel any better, I said I'd be at your funeral. I'm definitely going to die before you. I'm way older.
Excuse me? You're way older. You're 3 years older, you bitch. Get the fuck over it.
I finally got Tommy to admit that
Oh,
I'm not
that's right.
Because
100
he's
years
always
old.
saying he's way older. I'm like, you weren't born like way before us. You had a 3-year jump.
I had like a. How old are you again, Tanner?
23.
I have another friend who's 28, and she's basically the same age as me.
Okay, I'm just not fun, I guess.
And if you're
So that
listening
makes
to
me
this-
old,
I love you. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
it's fine. I'm just old and grumpy. But I have a news. I don't think I'm going to be as grumpy anymore going forward because I have a fuck ton of chiropractor visits to go to, and every time I come back happier and chipper. Chipper.
More chipper?
More chipper?
More chippy.
More chipper.
Mas chip.
Mas chip, yeah. Let's leave it at
¿Por qué
that.
no los dos?
I come back just a little bit, a little more pep in my step, except for when it comes to Storm because she's been pissing me off lately. I just want to punch her right in the fucking face. But I won't because I fucking love her. Ugh. But anyway, yeah. I had 10 years, 11 years? A lot of years worth of pain have just been adjusted, and it's fucking amazing. I recommend everyone go to the chiropractor. I'm a whole new human. I'm going to have a different personality.
Did the chiropractor tell you like what was wrong with you? Like did you get like a diagnosis? Do chiropractors do that?
So I would assume like the ones you see on YouTube where
They're
like
not
it's all
doctors.
drawn
Well,
out.
yeah, but I
and-
mean like they'll tell you like what's wrong with you, right?
yeah. So
Your back be fucked.
Yeah, but
son.
like they'll say like, oh, this invertebrae is like twisted or off center or something.
How's
like
your
that, right?
coccyx?
So you go, and I'm assuming the ones that are more dramatic that you see on YouTube, where like it's really drawn out and they're having a whole conversation. I'm assuming if you go to like an office, they do that.
Ah, gotcha.
But I just went to the Joint, which is just like a franchise. And franchises are like, get them the fuck out.
Franchise.
Get them in, get them out. I don't care. Just go, get the money, go. So it's super quick. You basically just sign up, sign your documents, read over everything, and then you get sent out to like a row of beds. And one of the chiropractors, usually two of them, basically just puts you like adjusts you and then asks you why do you think it hurts? What did you do? Do you know the reason? Did you just wake up like this? What happened? Then you explain what you think, like this is the problem, this is what hurts, this is what it is, and he goes, okay. And then he just adjusts you accordingly and then says, okay, now get up, stand, walk, how do you feel? And then he goes, okay, so this is what I think the problem is.
On that same subject, eating ass.
What the
Interesting
fuck?
that you bring that up. No, I'm just kidding.
Again.
Yeah.
Not again.
I was like, how can I derail this conversation enough to make everyone hate me in a split second? You know what, Gabe? You're right. Pecking is weird for your back. No,
oh my god.
I'll get it every time.
Every time.
Every time.
We should start a tally of how many times Tommy brings up pegging on the podcast.
How many times does Tommy project?
Every goddamn episode.
That's what I hate. Is I totally understand why people are probably like, Tommy really wants to be pegged. I don't. I'm just genuinely. It boggles my mind. It was like I was explaining to Gabe the other day how I'm weird where guys with wearing makeup. I'm not against it or anything. It just doesn't in my mind. They don't. Go, it's like oil and water.
Explain to me why you're against K-pop.
Why would I not be against K-pop? I think I have to edit that out.
Oh no. I knew when you started talking about makeup, I was like, how can I escalate this?
Man, you got me.
So-
You got me to fuck that up quick.
my
Man,
God.
Tommy can never get high if we do live shows.
I'm just gonna. We're gonna have to have a really large. I'm sorry fund because
We'll
you
just
said
have a giant GoFundMe that's like a swear jar.
Tanner said gay people can't be men. You just
Oh, no,
and you just made fun of Asians.
When we were talking about
I just
what's his name? Brett Rock.
Bretman
I wasn't making
Bretman
fun
Rock.
of Asians. I was making fun of K-pop.
No, when I tried to describe Bretman Rock,
which is
I just said that gay little man or something like
yeah,
that.
like
And I didn't like finish my thought or like how I should properly describe him, and it just kind of died off in that podcast. So everyone thinks I'm a homophobe now.
yeah, with best friend as a bisexual.
Yeah,
loves everything.
Sometimes
and anyone.
my brain just moves faster than my mouth. When, after that episode came out, we were playing it in the kitchen, and Karina was with me, and that part it went through the speaker, and she looked at me, and I just shrugged. I was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean."
yeah, I walked over the corner when you were in the middle of that, and I was like, yeah.
I just put up my hands.
I mean, you know it's bad whenever you hear Tommy go, like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, you just fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I think my next word is like, well, we got to edit that.
I don't know. Like, so this is what kind of bothers me about people hating on K-pop is I don't like that the people who hate on it are kind of like the Android and iPhone people who are like, let me keep pushing this shit on you that my phone is better. Let me keep pushing this on you that I really fucking hate them. I don't listen to them. I don't know any of them. I don't know anything about it, but I hate this thing.
Okay,
That's
but
how I
can't-
feel
I can't
about
scroll-
I'm not
K-pop.
done. I'm not
I can't
done.
scroll
I'm
through
not done.
Reddit without seeing a fucking
Not
K-pop
even Reddit.
post.
Any day, any time of day you go on Twitter, something is trending about a K-pop band.
Yeah, because they're
All the time.
famous.
They're the ones pushing it on people. You're on the wrong side here, Gabe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I look through the same social media and I like K-pop. I watch K-dramas. I watch Japanese shows. I watch a bunch of Asian stuff.
You
And
weeb.
I never fucking see it.
weird boy.
But sometimes I see like ads of these things. But sure, maybe it is being pushed. But it doesn't, like, it annoys me that I give music a chance no matter what it is. I listen
I
to
gave it a
music
chance.
in different genres all the time. But like, tons of people, as soon as they hear K-pop, they have to explain to me in detail how much they fucking hate it. And I'm like, that's weird
me and
because I
Tommy.
don't remember asking, nor do I remember telling you how much I love them.
I offer no apologies.
No, not directed towards you. Just in general, the amount of people who just hate them just to hate them.
Settle apologies.
And it just annoys me because I give all music a chance. And then eventually I'm just like, I really can't get into this.
It's like Star Wars.
Why?
I feel like
Who
anytime
doesn't like Star Wars?
there's a lot of people that are very vocal about not liking
Yeah,
Star
Star Wars is very much like that.
Yeah,
but
like Star Wars is very polarized. Either people love it or they hate it, and then there's like a mix of people that like I like this trilogy, but I don't like this trilogy, and it's
Yeah.
very,
yeah.
very,
And then there's
aggressive.
people like me who really love Star Wars as a kid, and I just grew out of it. Where some other people just that maintain to be their
I think
thing.
I've kind of gotten to that stage.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just, I like
Sad.
I enjoy Star Wars and everything like that, but I pretty much only watch Revenge of the Sith now, and that's it. And that's just every now and then. And like I try to watch all the lore videos and the Star Wars theories and everything. And like I have friends who are really into Star Wars and everything, and I was like, I'm not getting it.
I'm a big fan of the video games. Battlefront 2, the story mode on that was really, really good.
Yeah, those games are cool.
Yeah.
I want to buy that Squadrons game. I just want to fly next.
It's
to them.
on
That's all I wanna do.
Game Pass. You can play it on my account
Yeah,
if
it's
you
that
want.
Game Pass with EA Pass, though. You have to have EA Pass for it.
Oh well, if you just have the Game Pass like Ultimate, you get it all.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Oh.
But so I kind of feel like that. Like I was really into Star Wars, but I just really, really liked the fighting aspect. I didn't really care for anything else except for Yoda. I fucking love Yoda, and I don't care how many people hate on him for the second episode. I fucking love when he's badass and
Yeah.
kicks everyone's ass.
Dude, even as a child, watching that in the theater made me laugh so hard. When he's fighting Count Dooku, I was like, I just watched Anakin and Obi-Wan get their ass handed to them, and then this little green
old
gremlin
man.
is doing parkour
Yeah.
around Count Dooku. This is amazing.
Yeah, I remember watching episode 4, 5, and 6, and 4, 5, and 6, and then like just being like, God,
Wasn't that the perfect description?
Yes.
I was like automatically super sad when Yoda dies because he's 1,000 years old. And I was like, oh, I really wish that you could have seen, like, who the fuck has that spoiled for them? If you don't know what that is, it's because you don't like Star Wars.
Anyways,
I just realized what I did. She has her AirPods on.
nah,
fine.
it's okay. The older
Yeah,
episodes,
your mood's getting so much fucking better.
Well, I thought about not saying it, and then I was like, no, because those are like the oldest of the episodes.
yeah. But so yeah, Karina's
Yeah.
in the other room. We just watched Revenge of the Sith a couple days ago.
Uh-huh.
So now we have left to watch episodes 5 and 6.
How did she like the prequel trilogy?
She liked it. There were definitely moments in episode 2 and 3 where we just laugh at Anakin.
Dude,
Yeah.
episode 2 is a fucking gold mine.
Yes, it really is.
I
But
can't, as
it
far
was.
as I'm off.
I loved watching episode 3 with her because I quote Palpatine all the time, and now she
Nice.
knows all of
Yeah.
No, you have lost.
Those are my favorite gifts to send.
and just like all the
Yeah.
all the lines are so good, and every time one popped up, I just hear her laugh.
He's so fucking extra evil.
Super extra.
I fucking love those are my favorite gifts to send. I love Palpatine so much. So that's probably the only part of the entire 7, 8, and 9 that I like.
This is really crude, but that we quote Palpatine in my friend group whenever one of us is having a hard shit, and other people can hear us from the bathroom.
Oh my god!
Like you'll be sitting there and you'll hear like one of my friends go, Anakin. Like, what? Help me. It's just
Oh God, he's such a good villain.
Yeah, he really is. They did
yeah.
a good job, like
Yeah.
of like writing him for the prequels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his is really good.
him and Obi-Wan. They did both
Ugh.
those characters
Really
really
well.
well.
Obi-Wan's
Really
so
well.
good. His book is so good too. I'm mad it's in Legends.
What?
Legends?
What does that mean?
Why are you mad? Because it's not canon.
Yeah, so basically because there was so much Star Wars literature, whenever Disney bought Star Wars, they came out and said every book besides these few selected ones that we have picked out are now legends, which means they're not canon anymore. They didn't actually happen in the universe because there was so much shit that happened. Like Luke gets married, has a kid, like Han and Leia have like a couple kids and all this stuff. There's a whole bunch of shit that happened. I think Luke dies at one point in the extended universe. Anyway, so they said all this is now legends, which means it's not canon, so it's not real anymore. It's basically fan fiction at this point. But we can pick and choose anything we want out of it and twist it and turn it our way and put it back into canon, which is now going to be the Disney canon. They started writing new books, which all the new books are pretty good too. Look up any of the Claudia Gray ones; they're fantastic reads. But so they did that. Obi-Wan Kenobi's book, Kenobi, which is a very good book, and you should go read it. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and I really enjoyed it. That one is in Legends. So now they're doing this Kenobi show. And so everyone, including me, is kind of hoping they take some elements from the Kenobi book because it's a very good follow-up to Episode 3 and what he does and everything.
Disney really fucked up.
Yeah, they did.
Like
really hard.
ever
I
since
love
Disney took over,
but-
the only good thing that's come out of Star Wars since Disney took over was
Solo.
Rogue One and The Mandalorian.
See, and I didn't even like Rogue One that much because I didn't like the writing of some of it.
Yeah, no, I'll give you that. The writing wasn't great, but it's a beautiful movie. The cinematographer that they
Oh, yeah,
had
and
for
the
it
final act
was
is
really good. The
amazing,
final
yeah.
act is dope.
But here's why. Because they didn't give the creative roles to Star Wars fans.
Yeah, stupid.
The reason The Mandalorian is so good, the reason Clone Wars is such a lauded show and everything, applauded show, I should say, is because it was headed up by Dave Filoni, who is this crazy bastard who loves Star Wars. Like he loves Star Wars, and he's like kind of been personally like handed down the torch of Star Wars lore from George Lucas. It's kind of like Dave is like one of the guys. He's like if you can't get to me, go to Dave kind of thing for anything Star Wars. And that's why the Clone Wars was so good. That's why the Mandalorian's been so good. Is number one, you have Dave Filoni writing it, or at least producing it.
Yeah.
And then you have Jon Favreau producing it and directing it, which brings in that whole cinematography.
He's done a good job.
Yeah, cinematography side and stuff because he's a fantastic
Jon
director.
Favreau didn't do Rogue One, did he?
No, Mandalorian.
Oh, Mandalorian. Okay.
Yeah. Rogue One was done by like Gareth Edwards.
Yeah,
something
and
like that.
Greg Fraser was the cinematographer for that. He's really good.
Jesus, Tanner's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
was gonna
know
tell
his
you-
name because I posted about it back when I was doing the movie stuff.
Oh yeah.
So you did a lot of research for someone who's just about Star Wars now, which I can appreciate because if you're gonna decide like I'm just not interested, like no one can say that you're just doing it because you
Yeah, it's
like I'm just uninterested enough to not have to do any of that.
Yeah,
I will watch the movies and then I watched the last 3 that just came out.
Yeah.
And I was very unimpressed. There was a couple lines where I was like, "Oh, this is cool. Like these are all good nostalgia, blank, blank, blank." But I want to watch The Mandalorian. I want to watch what's the other one, The Boys or something.
no the Bad Batch.
The Bad Batch. I want to watch that. I want to watch the
yeah.
shows. But if there's something else on, I probably will choose something else.
Well, here's the thing with Star Wars. I've never seen the Clone Wars. I've started the Clone Wars. I'm talking about the show.
Yeah.
The cartoon. I've started that show 4 times now. And I get about 4 episodes in, and then I see it's 8 seasons long, and it's like 30 episodes long for each season.
Yep,
I go,
and it doesn't get good till like
season 3
2
or some
3.
shit. Yeah.
Yep.
And
just skip it.
and so no, I mean that's basically I just refuse to watch it now, and that's why I'm not interested in the Bad Batch at all.
It's a big investment. You got commitment you got to make for that.
And so I like Star Wars, but let's put it this way. I don't have any Star Wars posters in my room. Like I
Yeah.
used to. Like I used to be really into it. But like I have friends who
Yeah,
like
Spitz
that.
is very appreciative of those plaques.
Yeah, I have friends. Oh, that's right. I gave him the Spitz. I forgot about that. I wondered where they went the other day. Like I have some friends who are into Star Wars so much that in their house they have a Star Wars wall coverings and all this stuff. And I'm just like, nope. Like that's me with Disney. That's me with Harry Potter. That's me with Lord of the Rings.
I love
Like so, I understand that it's just a different thing.
I love
Yeah.
the concept of Star Wars if there's like fights. Like if there's a cool like TikTok snippet or like a small video on like I don't know, what do I use? Instagram or something of like just people dueling with lightsabers, I will watch it because to me that's cool. Like that concept of that happening when it's dark and you just see the lights going, that's cool to me. That's why I watch Star Wars, because my favorite character is no longer in it. So now I'm
Yeah.
just like, "Nyeh."
Yeah, and that's kind of the problem with Star Wars is that like there's the original trilogy, there's the prequels, and then there's like the Disney era. You have these 3 different eras, and if you talk to most people, they'll probably say one era is their favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
And the feeling across each trilogy is not the same. There's no consistency.
No, the tone is all over the fucking
Yeah,
place.
and so
yeah.
that's why like the fan base is so divided, and you get
Well-
mixed reviews on every single Star Wars
And I
product
think that's
that's
why I
out there.
like-
And more often than not, something that Star Wars that comes out, a majority of the fan base is not going to like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
They're
I
gonna
think
already
it's-
be disappointed.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot to do too with generations. It's one of the few media franchises that, for some reason, always has a resurgence around the birth of a new generation. And so you have 1 or 2 generations for each trilogy. That's the generation they either grew up watching in the theaters or they grew up watching in like home video when it came out.
yep. And then you watch the next trilogy, and
yes.
it's like it doesn't hit the same.
So it's got all this weird, like that was kind of the thing. Like there's a movie called Fanboys, and I think I talked about it on here before about these guys who try to go watch episode 1 before it's released. And the movie ends, spoiler alert, it's an old 90s movie or 2000 movie. The movie ends with the guy they're sitting in the theater and he goes, wait, what if it sucks? And it's kind of like this haha joke, like everyone in this theater is going to fucking hate this movie. Like everyone's so pumped, everyone's so happy, everyone's like so excited, they're all dressed up and everything. And then you realize, like, as you're looking at it, you're like, everyone in this fucking theater is going to hate this fucking movie.
Yeah.
They're
And I-
totally going to dislike it. Like this is like one of the biggest, like, critical bombs of the
Yeah.
decade or the century at that point, like for how much hype there was over it.
I was telling Tommy later. Also, we talk about Star Wars a lot for people who aren't like
We do,
the biggest
yeah.
fans. But it's just an interesting concept that I feel like there's so much potential, and that's why we are passionate about it. But I told Tommy I can't wait for the time when we're old and someone has thought up a cool name to call Jedi and lightsaber, like so that because it's all patent and shit, so they can make their own story
Yeah,
of the cool shit of Star Wars. Like there's so many fan fictions and fan made movies and skits that someone's going to come up with a great concept that's going to let us like Invincible. That's how I was telling him about it. Is Invincible is a show that is on Hulu, Amazon Prime,
yeah.
Amazon Prime, and I just now started watching it, so I won't spoil anything because I'm just on episode 1. But it's a superhero movie, but they can't obviously use.
Show.
Oh yeah, show. That they can't obviously use anything from DC or Marvel, so they had to
Yeah.
make up these things, and it feels very much like a fuck you to DC and Marvel because they patent everything. But now we're so far away from DC and Marvel era, they've done everything they can. So now someone's like, I like superheroes, but I really wish they would do blank, and then they made it into a show or a graphic novel,
Well,
and then a show.
That's kind of like the
So I
like
want that, but with Star Wars.
like the Flash, and that show is called The Red Rush.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman is War Woman. Like it's all these really like generic, just to be generic ass names.
Yeah.
Because they
Like-
can't do a whole
Yeah,
lot.
it's kind of like in The Boys. I just started watching The Boys too. Have you seen The Boys at all?
no.
There's an invisible character in it, and his name is Translucent. Like that's it. It's like such a horrible name, but it's like they're so obviously like the Superman guy in it is named Homelander.
Yeah,
And I forget what the Wonder Woman chick is named, but then like the the fish guy is the Deep,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's all these really hokey poke at it kind of names.
And
Yeah.
one day I hope to say the Palpatine for that movie, the Darth Vader for that movie, like I want that to bat really bad because I want really good, like extravagant
Yeah.
fight scenes.
What you were saying that you wanted of like a new series that was like Star Wars but does it different makes me really hopeful for Dune.
Dune?
Yeah.
What's Dune?
Dune, the movie that I've been waiting for years.
It got delayed for a year.
Yeah, well, I think it's coming out in like November or December, something like that.
Yeah, but it was supposed to come out then too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to come out last December, then it got delayed. But Dune is like the very first Dune novel came out. Oh fuck, I don't even know when, but it's like it's a pretty popular like classic sci-fi novel, and it just turned into this really well written, really complex sci-fi series that was an older movie. Who did Eraserhead?
It's David Lynch.
David Lynch did a movie of the Dune back in his time, and it was like a flop. But Denis Villeneuve, one of my favorite directors, is doing this Dune movie. It's got like Timothée Chalamet.
For anyone wondering, that's the guy who directed Sicario, he directed
Prisoners.
Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah, that one.
I think he did like Arrival.
Yes, yeah, he did Arrival too.
He's a very cinematographic.
He's a smart director.
Is Arrival the one with Natalie Portman?
No, that's Annihilation.
Annihilation.
That's
yeah,
the Arrival's the one with Amy Adams and Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner.
Yeah, but like Dune, I've read the book, and the first book doesn't even scratch the surface to the universe, but it's like Star Wars mixed with Game of Thrones. Like it's very political, it's very smart, but then on top of it, there's also like fantasy aspects of it, like very similar to how there's the Jedi in Star Wars, but then there's also the political aspect of like the Senate and the Empire and all that stuff.
The Senate's in it?
No, I'm just comparing it to Star Wars. But so I think you'll enjoy Dune when it comes out for the reasons that you previously mentioned.
Okay, I'm very excited now. Oh, I'm so excited.
I've been waiting for this movie for forever, and it's one of my favorite books. It's so good.
It's also given us one of the best lines ever, which is "Fear is the mind killer."
Fear is the mind killer.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to like this. I would like to read the book if you have it.
I do have it. Yeah, you can borrow it. I will warn you, it's really, really dry because the first book sets up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's like Dune was written in like the John kind of golden era of sci-fi writing.
Would it
it's
help if I
very
listened to
dry.
it?
You could. Yeah.
Do you think it would be better?
I mean, do you read a lot?
Yeah, but I'm very uninterested for like the first 5 chapters until I can feel something for a character or for a concept, and then I will never put that book down.
Yeah, you'd probably enjoy reading it more. It's just because the very first Dune book, it sets up a lot of like the universe and why our characters are in the like dire state that they're in, and why they're on the planet they're on, and like what they're trying to do.
Oh, then I actually might like it because I like the when things are laid out and set up for me because it helps me build the world.
Yeah,
there's a book I tried to read. It's by William Gibson, and it was written in I think '84, and it is basically, was it '84? Let me double check. I said it right there. Oh yeah, 1984 is basically the book that visually inspired cyberpunk as a genre. It's like one of 3 like staple books that they point to. So there's like that. Then there's like Do Electric Sheep Dream, or was it Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? That one that's
I've heard of that one.
That's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
That's turned into. And then there's another one, but it's a very cool book idea wise, like because it's all about this guy who is like basically a black market hacker who he's like, they're called like cowboys or something like that, who they lock into these hollow desks and then they go through programs and like this virtual reality and everything. Super ahead of its time. Super cool. It pretty much exactly describes what the city in Blade Runner looks like.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of nuts how much they kind of lifted from that. Because I mean, he talks about the gray skies, the signs in the sky and all this stuff. It's very much like kind of a neo-noir book. Super dry though. And it's full of lingo that if I was not reading it on a Kindle app that had an X-ray feature that tells you what certain lingo means, I wouldn't have made it as far as I did into the book. It was like a 200-page book or something. I made it like 80 pages in, and I was like, I have no interest in reading the rest of this.
It's a lot of work.
How often do you read, Gabe?
Recently, not very much. Basically, since Adam left, I've not read a single thing.
Yeah.
Usually, him and I will read like the last 30-ish minutes before bed.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. You guys have any favorite books?
The Alchemist.
Alchemist is good. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I love reading those. I haven't finished any of them, but they're good books.
Nice.
I know that.
I don't really have a favorite book. Like I can't really think of one that I'm like, this is a fucking masterpiece, and I'm excited. But I also haven't read like iconic books.
Yeah.
Like Fahrenheit 451 is an amazing book, but I don't like picking that book because of course it's amazing. Like that's gonna be
Well, and
an iconic book. Like
yeah, you'll find with a lot of those books too that even back to like the 80s and stuff, like they do not translate well in terms of like action and stuff.
no, definitely not.
Shiva trying to come downstairs.
Yeah, she was like whining at the bottom of the steps, wanting help. Poor girl.
But yeah, I don't really have a favorite. The only one I can say, because I picked it when I was younger, is Where the Red Fern Grows, and I stand by that choice because it's a fucking great book.
You know what? One book I do like a lot. Shutter Island was very, very good.
Yeah, since you mentioned that last time, I definitely want to read that.
Yeah, that was one of the few times I've ever read a book and then they made a movie out of it. And I was like, hey, I fucking read this book. I don't know what the fuck I was doing reading that book at like 11 years old, but it was a super good book. So there's that one. The Shining. I really like The Shining. I feel like it's it's obviously Stephen King's one of his best works.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's one of the few books he doesn't fuck up the ending on. Like, and Doctor Sleep was a very good follow-up book to it. And they're pretty scurry. But
Was the movie upsetting? Doctor Sleep?
yeah, I actually just rewatched it for the first time. I now own it.
Do you like the movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, it was like I knew that it was related to The Shining,
Yeah.
but it definitely took a turn that I didn't expect it to. With that in mind,
Yeah.
thinking that this would be Shining-esque, and it wasn't like at
Yeah,
all.
you have to remember that Stephen King is someone who writes a lot. Like, oh, I write, which I don't write anything. So, yeah. But where I hate planning, I hate web work, I hate all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so he sits down with an idea and with a character in his mind, and he just goes. And then
Yeah, the dude goes. He writes like a machine.
and then he just goes. I mean, he's written books in
Days.
Weekends. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fucking nuts what that guy can do. But that's why I enjoy writing like that myself. I understand it because you can write a chapter in an hour. If you have an idea and it's just going, you're done.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to write like that, in my opinion. But anyway, so he does that, and because he does that, because he does something where he says he relies on the characters to take them where the characters need to go. A lot of he projects a lot of himself onto it. So lots of his stories are about writers, like The Shining is about a writer.
So that explains the weird sex stuff in it, right?
Okay, so that's always brought up because he was like super fucked up on coke when he wrote it. But yeah, he was a coke fiend. But
that
so
explains the nose.
yeah, right.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah.
But so The Shining was written at a time where he was a horrible alcoholic, horrible addict in general.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
that
so the
projects very well into that.
And the main idea of The Shining is a story about a very good man who's trying his best, who's continually taken down by an addiction. And it's kind of like you can look at the story as like just a man going crazy and falling into his addiction and stuff like that. Which is why I don't like the Stanley Kubrick movie, because it doesn't even really
Not really
play with that at all. Yeah. The second book, Doctor Sleep, is very much about his recovery and a man in recovery from alcohol addiction, because he had kicked everything by that time when he wrote Doctor Sleep. And so they have very different takes. Like Doctor Sleep ends, even though it ends sad, it still ends on kind of an up note.
Interesting.
Of like there's hope left in the world, like there's good people left in the world, stuff like that. Like anyone can kind of redeem themselves. You just have to put in the effort and stick to it, kind of thing. Whereas The Shining is just straight up a horror book. Like it's just it doesn't end like happily necessarily, you know.
Yeah.
Like a lot of his books did. Like I think Stephen King's the one who he says he can't even remember writing Cujo because he was so whacked out of his fucking mind on coke.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm like, you fucking wrote like one of the best horror novels of the century, and you can't fucking remember it. Like,
That's nuts.
Not a clue.
yeah.
What was I going to say? What's your favorite book, Tanner?
I have many.
Oh,
I
I'm
don't know if
sure.
I could answer that question.
Oh, mi lo siento.
Then why would you ask it?
I'm just
Ask it.
curious. I mean, I know Tommy reads. I didn't know if you read or like did it often. So
I have trouble picking
I
out
just-
favorite books. That's
Yeah.
my problem.
Yeah,
But
that's why I said
because like
that.
I have a list of books that I've read that like I really enjoy and would maybe consider favorites. Dune is definitely one of them. There's a book called Duskfall, which is a fantasy book that I just picked up at Barnes & Noble one day because I thought the cover looked cool. And that book was really enjoyable.
I have a problem with doing that where I'm like, this looks really cool. But sometimes you get kind of lucky. Like I picked City of Bones like that way. And that whole series. I ended up, same thing with Novice. And then there's a lot of books that are like recommended to me. And I kind of get a little annoyed sometimes when people recommend books. And I'm like, this is a shitty book. Why would you recommend this book to me?
Different interests.
You know what book I remember, but before you continue, I remember reading a book in school that I like every day. I was like, I want to get to this class to read the rest of this book. And it was City of Ember. Did you ever read that?
No.
They made like a teen movie out of it.
Is that a Nick's book? Who's the author of that one?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's not like a Nicholas. Did you say Nicholas Sparks?
No, Nick's like Garth Nix, I think is the author I'm trying to think
I don't
of.
know. I know that there were sequels to it. It's called like City of Light or something like that. But look at all of us. 2008. And I don't. Oh no, it's by Jean Pierre. What the fuck? Who is this book by? Why can I not find answers? Is a fucking based on the Jean Dupro? Yeah, Jean Dupro.
Okay, I don't know what I was thinking
in 1944. But it was kind of like a young adult novel, but it was just about these two kids who live like underground, and this I forgot even like what all the terminology is, but it's about their attempt to try to get above ground. It's just a really interesting good book. It's kind of like Gods of Manhattan, which is another teen book that's really, really pulled me in. Anyway, continue with your point. I'm sorry.
What was I talking about? Favorite books?
Yeah, you're talking about how.
There's this book I read called The Profiteers. And this is like an investigative kind of book. It was about the Bechtel Corporation and how that company started, and they're one of like the world's biggest builders. Like they built Saudi Arabia. And they built like the Hoover Dam.
So they got money.
It's a really strong corporation, and their ties to our government is terrifying. So that was a fun book to read.
Are you taking dick pics while Tanner's trying to talk right now?
No, but someone yelled at me earlier about turning the sound on to my phone. And I don't ever have the sound on.
Well, where's your car in relation to mine and the empty spot in the garage?
Touche.
And who tried to call to let you know about this? And who was sitting at the fucking table with his phone in his pocket, never answered.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I got in trouble.
When
but
I was
I'm trying to promote the podcast. So
right now, as we're doing the podcast?
Yeah. It's a live. It's Snapchat. It's live.
That's funny. In middle school, there was this author from Snowflake who, like, Snowflake is a town not too far from where I grew up, but he came to my school and did like a quick reading of like a book that he wrote and was selling it to the kids and stuff. And I thought it was the coolest book ever. So I bought one of the books and he signed it and drew a dragon in the front page of it.
Fucking nice.
Yeah. And when he was selling his book to us, he was saying that the people that were making the Harry Potter movies were looking at his books to make movies on.
Ooh.
That never happened, but I was like, fucking sold. I want to read these books.
Yeah.
So it's turned into quite the series. There's like 7 or 8 books right now. And the first book was called Here There Be Dragons. And it's about like these 3 Oxford scholars who, spoiler alert, at the end you discover that the Oxford scholars are, one is J.R.R. Tolkien, the other is C.S. Lewis, and the third is H.G. Wells.
Ooh.
And they're just like hanging out in a pub, just like talking smart, like you would expect them to.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in like running from, like monsters or criminals or like something happened, you don't know, and drops a book, which is called the Imaginarium Geographica. This is where it gets really nerdy.
I've heard of that.
And they learned that this book is a map of all things like legendary and mythological. And it's like a world in its own. And they have to like protect this book because all of the stories and legends and myths that we have in our world originate from that world and this book. So they become caretakers of like all these myths and legends, and through their adventures they have interactions with like King Arthur and like famous philosophers and like Robin Hood and this kind of stuff. And it's really like it's very interesting because the person who wrote this did his research, a lot of research on all of these characters and all of these myths that everyone like knows and loves, and puts them into this really, really clever story as to how it came to be in our world.
So this kind of reminds me of American Gods. It turned into a show as well, but it's actually called something else, I believe, in the book form.
No, it's American Gods.
Is it American Gods?
Yeah.
I thought it was a longer title, but I could be wrong.
Oh, there might be like a subtitle on it, like
Yeah.
American Gods and blah blah.
And then blah blah blah. Yeah, but those are really good books. I started reading them. I haven't finished the series, but is it a series? I can't remember. It's been a long time since I read it. I think it might just be the one book that they turned into a series, and that one book is really, really good. Like, I really enjoyed reading it. It's very easy to read.
I've heard good things about American Gods.
Yeah.
So-
and then, sorry.
No,
and then,
continue.
So, Ian, who's Blackbeard? What's his name?
Ian McShane.
Okay, so he narrates it in like an audible, and once
that's cool.
He does he was like the main trailer as well, like his voice. So I only could read the book in his voice, and it made it 10 times better. So you
That's
should
funny.
probably do that when you read it, because it makes it real good.
Yeah. So I've done that with one book as well. Your little just look at the cover and go with it kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because we were browsing around a Barnes and Noble one day, and I was looking for something, and I was like, none of these covers look interesting enough to even grab. And then one book was sticking out, and it was in the romance section.
Oh, but of course.
Yeah, and
you are a romancer.
well, because I was just like going down the aisles, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm in the romance section, and I like looked down and saw this like hardcover book sticking out, and I was like, what the fuck? And I grabbed it, and it's this really like not intricate, but just kind of well done drawing of a cowboy with his shirt off, holding a woman over his shoulder, like in a fireman carry kind of thing, and it was called "At Night She Cries While He Rides His Steed." And I was
Is this he cheats on his wife with like a gay guy?
no, hang on. And so I was like, what the fuck is this? And so I open it up, and I realized very quickly that it's like some weird just type of jokey book. Like, it's not a romance novel. It's written by a dude, and it's very much not
A romance
like a romance novel. It's basically just like misogyny the book.
Oh my
Like,
God.
but like that's the joke.
Yeah.
Is it's about this like cowboy character who does like all this crazy shit. Like in one chapter, he fucking and there's drawings for every chapter, and like 3 of them are like naked chicks. One of them is like a midget playing a piano with his pants off.
What the
and stuff.
fuck?
Yeah, it's hilarious. And
Very tasteful.
and there's a chat. Oh yeah, it's like crudeness the book.
Yeah.
But I couldn't stop reading it because it was so funny. Because there was like a chapter where he goes to this guy's house who like he thinks stole his gold or something like that, and he kills the guy and then bangs his wife. Because his wife is like, I just can't resist you, because he's like such a cowboy, manly man,
gosh.
and he's like so suave, and so he bangs her over the table. It's fucking hilarious.
That's funny.
Like the dude, I was like, I need to read other books you've written, because this is obviously like, I hope you have like other genres of shit, but it was just like a dumb, crude book to read.
So the fact that it was sticking out
Yeah,
reminded me. So I had this friend a while ago where we would go to Barnes and Nobles quite often, and she would books that she thought were good recommendations for people to read. Like, she just was like, you should read this. She would grab them and just kind of slide them out just a little bit so they were different than the rest of the books. And then she's like, and then watch, we'll come back and that book will be gone.
Yeah.
Because people are like, oh, this is different. Let me grab it. Like, that's
Yeah.
just how our minds
Yeah.
work. But that reminded me, I was like, I wonder if she
Yeah.
did that.
Well, it's like, you know how at Barnes and Nobles there's the books that are like in the bookshelf as they're supposed to be, and you only see their bindings.
Yeah.
And then every now and then they have the one that's like face forward and you can see the cover. More often than not, I end up buying the ones that I can see the cover
yeah,
because it's just easier to look at.
yeah.
But there was one book that I bought for that very reason, because I saw the cover and thought it looked fucking cool.
Yeah.
It was called The Clockwork Vampire Chronicles.
Oh Jesus, fuck,
Bro,
Yep.
this book was fucking nuts. It's about like this old, like this. It's like medieval times. It's about like this old grizzled warrior who's like living a peaceful life and whatnot. And him and his village get attacked by clockwork vampires. Their internal organs are like clockwork and stuff, and they have these machines called cankers, which harvest people for blood. And it's like it's the most like ridiculous thing I'd ever read. And the kingdom had thought that these like mechanical vampires were vanquished in like wars of the past and whatnot.
See, this
And
is what
this-
happens if Stephen King didn't. He had a coke problem first.
It's nuts. And then this old like John Wick kind of character veteran has to go on this journey to get to the kingdom capital to warn the king that like our ancient clockwork vampire enemy has returned. And it is the most.
Like, dog, just don't wind him.
It's like
Like, don't wind him up.
it's surprisingly good. The action is amazing. It's like very bloody and gory, and then like there's a lot of questionable things, like your
Like risque?
yeah, very risque vampire action in those books. But I have it if any of you are interested.
I'm fucking down, dude.
I feel like you would actually really enjoy those.
The first time I drop LSD, I'll read it. But no.
It's fucking weird.
I feel like my book list is shorter than my movie list, but it's still pretty fucking lengthy. And it takes me, I'm not a fast reader. My sister can read, my sister Alexa, she can read a book in like an hour. She's really, really fast reader, like amazing. It's fucking astounding. I am not. I am opposite. It takes me a while to read a book just because I will keep rereading something until I can make the picture in my head. Like I am very extensive with what I want to do. And I feel like that makes me stop a lot where okay, let me reread because I don't want to make sure I have this correct.
Yeah.
He would like Tolkien because he gives you plenty of time in his descriptions.
Oh, so much description.
Also, I was going to say, so that book you were describing where
Yeah.
it had him and the other authors, is that just, he just ended up putting those authors in it? Or was that like from their, like, did they go to school together at some point? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
I don't know how real that is. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know if they were all
'Cause there's
Oxford
a-
scholars. Because in the story they were.
Well, what?
Yeah.
Okay, so hang on. It's Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and who else?
H.G. Wells.
So I don't know about H.G. Wells. I do know Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were very good friends, and we're in the same writing shop group. So that's why C.S. Lewis and Tolkien had a lot of kind of similar themes
Interesting.
and stuff like that. Was
There's-
they were very like a lot of them got their ideas from each other.
Have you guys read any H.G. Wells?
The Time Machine.
Did you like The Time Machine?
If I hadn't read it for school, yeah, I
Yeah.
probably would have.
I've-
That's why I want to go read The Great Gatsby again.
I fucking love The Time Machine. Because like the very first or like the first two chapters or so when they're talking about theoretically how a time machine would work.
Yeah, I do
was
remember liking
this
that.
is the most like intelligent and philosophical conversation I've ever read in a book ever.
Yeah, they
I
go
really
deep.
enjoyed that part
and
of
that's
it.
like the first like widespread media attempt at like a time
time
machine.
machine,
yeah.
Like, yeah.
And like the shit that he says in that book too, like makes sense.
I've
Yeah.
only watched the movie. I tried to read the book once, but because I was forced to
Yeah.
read it in school, I didn't read it.
Well, so books like The
I
Time
Spark Noted.
Machine, like what's the timeline for copyright? Is it 70 years? After 70 years, 90 years, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure books they lose their copyright and it's free to everybody. So you can go on like Apple Library for books or I don't know, wherever else you listen to audiobooks, and most of that stuff should be free. All of the classics that are older than 70 or 90 years, whichever it is, you can get for free.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'll listen.
Yeah. The I know Disney's the one that's constantly pushing copyright law to extend and extend so they don't lose
they
Mickey.
keep fucking
That
doing
makes
it, and
sense.
it really
Yeah.
irritates me.
So
I've stopped reading fun books.
I was just gonna say that. I stopped reading nonfiction books.
Yeah.
I got really into like biography books and shit.
Dude, I'm currently reading Benjamin Franklin's autobiography.
No shit. I've wanted to read that for a long time. I never have.
It's so fucking good.
Did you say you stopped reading nonfiction books?
Yeah.
Isn't nonfiction the true books?
I always
Yeah.
get them confused too.
Fiction is fake books.
Fake, yeah.
So if you stopped reading nonfiction,
Uh-huh.
but you read an autobiography? Or no, did you
Well,
say that?
nonfiction is truth.
Yeah.
So an autobiography would be nonfiction.
Yeah, but you said you stopped reading nonfiction books.
No, I said I stopped reading. I started reading nonfiction.
Okay.
books.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry. I
You
was
said
just
it backwards, but
I was
that's
You,
like,
the listener, me and Gabe are fucked up. Go back in
Yeah,
time and use your time machine and go back and check if I'm an idiot or not.
I
The
was
point
making sure
is,
I
I don't
understood
read the
correctly.
fakey fake book no more.
You said you read The Alchemist, right?
yeah, I've read that 4 times.
Damn, 4 times? It's a good book.
I fucking love that book.
Have you heard of Ishmael?
Like Moby Dick Ishmael?
No, different Ishmael.
Is it by Paulo Coelho or whatever his name is?
Kind of within the same realm. I don't think it's by the same guy, but it's very like similar thoughts. I think you would enjoy that book. You
I
should
do
look
like
it up.
reading books like that. Those, I mean, it makes sense with the degree I want to get, but those aimless wandering, just philosophical books, like The Alchemist, or like I really want to read The Old Man and the Sea, because
I don't want to read that too.
that's supposed to be kind of something. Just kind of those weird. Like I'm sure I would probably enjoy reading Life of Pi, like the book that was based off of. But things like that interest me. My problem is lots of those books are really old.
Yeah.
And the language is not grabbing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I bought Confucius's Dialects, and that's
Yeah.
probably going to be the next book I'm going to read because I think Eastern philosophy is super interesting. But yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Is that may not it may not hold my interest.
If you want to do that, I just went to Barnes and Noble and bought a really nice illustrated edition of the Tao Te Ching.
yeah.
That's basically what my whole like religion is based off of. Dudism is basically just the Tao, but it's all illustrated and everything, so it's all pretty. But it's basically kind of like a analytics of Confucius.
Yeah.
It's very much just
analytics. I said dialects.
Like,
Yeah.
I think you said
Oh, did I say it right? Okay.
But it's just like one page is a thing, and you can sit there and stare at that page for 5 hours and not understand a single goddamn thing it's saying.
Yep.
Or you can sit there for 5 hours and deconstruct it very well and say, oh, this is saying not to worry in this way or not to act this way because people who act this way do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very heavily philosophical book with very heavy language. They've done a lot of translations of it, trying to get it to...
I'm excited to read that.
Have either of you read Catcher in the Rye?
How about
No.
this?
No.
I'll trade you that for the fucking Clockwork Vampires.
I bet.
Anyway, Catcher in the Rye. Hasn't that book caused a bunch of guys to kill people?
So I was going to say, Adam read it during his quarantine before he went to the
Oh, God.
because his mom like recommended it because it like kind of changed the way that she thought about everything. It like changed her concept, and she's like, it's just a good book, you should read it. So he's reading it. I believe he finished it, and we were kind of hoping that he would send his stuff back home, but they're holding it. So 'cause I was supposed to read it, and I was wondering because it's a famous book if you guys haven't read it, but I'm excited to read it because it has changed the way a lot of people have thought, and some
Wasn't
the
it
worst.
banned at some point?
It's been banned a couple times because so John Hinckley Jr., the guy that shot Lennon, or was that the guy that shot Reagan? The guy that
don't
shot
know.
Reagan was found with it. The guy that shot Lennon was found with it. And then I think it was like something like the Virginia Tech shooter or something like that was found with a copy of it because
Interesting.
from what I understand, it's a book about a teenage boy like walking through New York, basically at the turn of his life, like him becoming an adult. And it's kind of a little bit, if it's read by like a incel type person, it can be seen as like this hero of a kid who is very aggressive, has lots of hate towards the world in some aspects and stuff like that.
Did you guys read like boys coming of age books when you were coming of age?
I read The Outsiders. I love
read
that book. Stay good.
That's a good one.
The Chosen by Chaim Potok or something like that. I can't remember his name, but that's like
Was
a
that in
Jewish.
the Hitler Youth Schools?
No, it's Jewish, so opposite.
Oh, snap.
It's a Jewish coming of age story.
Interesting.
That's a good book.
Did you ever read Night?
Night. Oh yeah, by Ellie Weasel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weasel? Is it Weasel? or
Weasel?
Easel.
I don't know.
I thought it was Easel.
Yeah,
The Night.
that's a haunting book.
Yeah. It's about it's basically, it's a fictional account of his
No,
account,
isn't it real?
Is it?
Wait, I'm sorry.
I
is
thought he
fictional
took,
real?
no,
Fiction is fake.
yeah, nonfiction is real. I thought he took his account of being in the Holocaust because he was part of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And then overlaid fiction over it, but I could be wrong. I could
I
be
don't know.
thinking
Let
of
me look
something
it up.
else.
I read one that I can't even remember the name. It was something Star. It was like The Stars or At Star. I don't know.
The stars at night
it was
are big and bright.
It was a story of a Jewish girl of like written by someone who was also there,
Yeah.
and like her journey, more or less inspired these events, like her story.
Yeah.
And it was really fucking good. And it was like pulling teeth. I almost failed that entire semester because of this book because I didn't want to read it. And then I had like a D or an F. My dad found out in his Christmas break. So I spent 2 weeks reading this book and filling out an entire packet worth a semester of points.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. It was a great book. I need to find the name of it.
Have you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
Have you seen the movie called The Way Back?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's a National Geographic movie that came out in like 2010 or something.
Uh-huh.
But it's about these during World War II. There's like I think it's based on a true story, but there's these group of people that escaped a Siberian gulag towards the end of World War II, and they crossed like the Siberian
Peninsula.
peninsula. I don't know, but they traveled like 2,000 miles to get out of Siberia and Germany or wherever they were to get to like Europe or what was considered free land and escape, like the Nazi reign.
Fuck.
It's a fucking crazy journey.
The book
It's a
I was
really
talking
good
about
book.
was called
Or movie.
Number the Stars. I read it in like 8th grade or something. It's a super easy book to read. What was I going to say? Is the peninsula... What's the bridge from Russia and Alaska called?
What? Oh, the one that used to be there? It's a
Yeah.
land bridge.
Yeah, the like ice bridge that goes there but never touches now.
Well, yeah. So the I believe that's the Black Sea over there. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I'm not good at geography. But so basically the theory is that there was a land bridge between Asia and Russia, I believe, or something, and that connected to America. I could be incorrect.
I have no idea.
Russia's
I'm terrible
in
at
Asia.
geography.
Huh?
Russia's in Asia. You mean Alaska?
No, it's above Asia. Russia's not considered a part of Asia. It's
Yeah.
Eastern Europe,
I have
isn't it?
no idea.
No, it's Asia. It's above Asia.
That's why it's spelled like Rush-Asia. Didn't you know that?
Holy fuck.
Why would you do
Holy
that?
fuck.
Anyway.
What is wrong with you?
Anyway, so there's a specific spot you can be in between those two countries. And I just saw a video on it where like the moon rises really fucking big. And for like 30 seconds, you can see this whole like big ass moon. And then for 5 seconds, it eclipses the sun in that angle.
Interesting.
And then it goes away again, like completely invisible
Huh.
because it's off of the sun's rays. And I saw the video. I'll have to show you. I think it was on Twitter, but it was super cool.
So Russia spans, it's called the Eurasian continent. Spans the northern part of the Eurasian continent. 77% of Russia's area is in Asia. The western 23% of the country is located in Europe. European Russia occupies almost 40% of Europe's total area.
So when I was in high school, I was taking geography. I don't even know if that's right anymore. Is it geography?
Because of my story?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's geography.
Okay. So
No, it's geology.
so one day my teacher was teaching us like where everything is, and then the next day she goes, I have to update this. So there's talks about this becoming Eurasia instead of Europe and Asia because there's nothing to define
Yeah.
between these two continents. So it's technically
I will, the quality of life.
Yeah, by definition, blah blah blah, like not two separate continents. So
Yeah.
it's funny, like now I'm a lot older,
Yeah.
and it's like Eurasia now. But with that, we will come back next time and we'll talk about some more books because I really like books. I have to read a lot more, and I just got an Audible subscription, and I have
Oh, nice.
10 credits to spend.
Nice. Do you want to
Dune.
know what one of
I
my
will.
favorite books is?
I thought you said I should read it though.
It's a little classic.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, yeah, you could read it, but
Which one's better?
I mean,
Which one's easier?
from what you listening to is definitely easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of my personal favorites is a little ditty called Mein Kampf.
That's a joke that I was just going to make.
It is number one on the bestseller list for 50,000 years. Way better than Anne Frank's book.
What?
What?
What's happening?
Have you never heard of Mein Kampf? It's Hitler's book he wrote in prison before he became a dictator. He got arrested for trying to overthrow the government once, got thrown in prison, wrote a book called Mein Kampf, which
And
means
then-
My Struggle, and it is now like the white supremacist fucking Bible along with
Have you
the
never
Turner
heard of Mein
Diaries.
Kampf?
No.
You ever heard of the Turner Diaries?
I mean, I may have heard
That's
it.
like a white supremacist Bible too. It's a crazy fucking book. It's literally a handbook for like how to stop like the white extinction kind
Is
of
that
thing.
book banned?
The Turner Diaries? I believe it is.
It'd kind of be interesting to like get a hold of some banned books and
I've
read
wanted
them.
to read Dianetics for so fucking long, and I don't
Is
want
that book banned? That's the Scientology guy,
Yeah,
right?
it's not banned. I just don't want to give money to Scientology.
Yeah.
And like
So-
there's like stories about depending on where you
Just
buy
fucking
it.
go to a thrift shop or like a secondhand bookstore. I bet most have it.
Imagine if Macklemore put that in a song.
We will pick up this because we're over time
Yeah.
again. But thanks everyone for listening. Good luck naming this podcast because that was a lot of different topics we just went through. Oh, yeah, I guess that works. Books.
Books.
It sounds like the guy from Fox and the Hound. Anyway, so
Why you got to bring that fucking movie up?
I love that movie. You
Yeah,
don't like that
no,
movie?
you love that movie?
Guys, we can't keep doing this.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
How the fuck do you love that movie? It's a
Thank you everyone for listening.
Go follow our Twitter.
go fuck
Go
yourself.
follow the Twitter. Share the
It's-
podcast wherever you listen to. Share it with your friends.
Dude, Loft Mountain, but Mountain spelled MTN on Twitter. Not all of that. Just spell Mountain with MTN.
Okay.
It's not Dude Loft Mountain with Mountain spelled like
Dude, love
MTN.
MTN.
Thank you, Tanner. Thank you, and good night.